Welcome to another episode of the Well Life Podcast. We connect with individuals across what we have determined to be the 8 dimensions of wellness.
Yeah, today we have on Cathy Stratton. She's a registered dietitian, a fitness coach for a long time, and also the former co-owner of Forever Fit. So glad to have you on.
And now part of the team, which we're very happy about. Cathy, thank you for taking some time to join us today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here and happy to be working with you guys.
Yeah. This is, I think, a really cool episode for us to kind of hear your story, hear the Forever Fit story, kind of as we all kind of come together to form a team. To start, would love to just hear kind of your intro, just about you, kind of what you've been doing in the fitness industry over your career,
right?
On the both fitness side and on the registered dietitian side as well.
Sure. So, I went to Queens College, and initially, it's kind of a coincidence, ironic, that I wanted to be a phys ed teacher. And I was told by the guidance counselor that there were no jobs. So think of something else. I knew I wanted.
On Long Island, there were no.
Right. And I didn't, pursue it. I just, I said, well, I wanted something in the science and health field. So I started taking nutrition classes, and I said, this is it. This is what I want to do. Mm-hmm. So I pursued that, got my degree, and then did an internship in Boston for a year in lieu of doing like a master's degree. That was the thing then. So I worked in, a Harvard teaching hospital and got my training there. Oh. Then moved back to Long Island, got jobs in hospitals, nursing homes, did the whole, hospital scene, clinical dietitian, food service director. And then I had the opportunity to work in a women's health center doing a weight loss program, a medically supervised weight loss program. And I love doing that. And they integrated the fitness along with the nutrition. And that's cool. What prompted me to pursue the fitness aspect of it. So I still kind of fulfilled my dream of phys ed, but I got certified to, teach aerobics back in the day, 33 years old. It was called aerobics. Yeah. Along with the outfits that went with it. And
scrunchy socks.
I've got some of those pictures to prove it. And that was just a weird way that I actually started the gym. I worked in a place close to my home, and a member approached me one day and said, my sister's looking to start a business, have any interest in opening up your own business? And I always wanted to combine the two, the nutrition and fitness. They go hand in hand, as you know. And my father was an entrepreneur, and he said, do it. Like, you know what, you'll regret it for the rest of your life if you don't. So give it a shot. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but at least try. And so I did. And, Helene was my partner. I never knew her. Prior to that, we weren't friends. And we hit it off and got started with like bare bones, nothing in the room. Wow. But mirrors and a carpet, carpeting. And then we got like this old, Universal that was like refurbished from a jail, and one Stairmaster, and people would be like on the lat pull down machine while we were jumping around, doing our aerobic classes all in the same room, So that's kind of how I started there.
Crazy. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. What's been in your whole kind of fitness and dietetic side? We could take it from one side first, then the other, whichever one you prefer. How have you seen the whole kind of industry change?
It's more so, really more so with the fitness that the changes have taken place. I mean, science is science. With nutrition, yes, a lot of changes have taken place, but I'm a everything in moderation kind of person. As far as, we may talk about that, but as far as my nutrition, feelings I have about that and changes that have taken place. But with fitness, it's really made big changes. We went through the step era. We went through every type of workout, and then spin coming popular. We incorporated all of it. We just changed with the times, and we were always one of the first ones to do it in the area. Wow. And then a lot of other gyms started opening up, but we were the place. Yeah. We had that niche in Centerport and Huntington and Greenlawn, and really, flourished for many years.
I think the really interesting thing is you guys were in business for 30 years. And if you look at fitness as a whole, it's a very new industry. People working out, going to a place and working out, doing strength training exercises. it even just started in the country, kind of with people going out for walks and runs, and that was the movement. And then in the 80s, 90s, when people were kind of saying you can go to a gym and work out and actually do strength training. So you guys were at the forefront of, like you said, like all these different trends in fitness, but even just owning a fitness studio wasn't something like people just did.
Right. And two women owning a fitness.
Also.
So that was
it was even bodybuilder focused at then when people just thought about
it
was like, it was
absolutely
that was weights, you know. So just getting two women, getting more women thinking about moving their bodies, thinking about fitness and health in that regard, very powerful. So kudos, I appreciate everything you guys did for the community.
Yeah. But we saw a lot of places, pop up, and we had a lot of competition over the years, but we managed to stick around. And COVID was the biggest challenge of every fitness studio.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think it was the biggest challenge of like a lot of I don't know how to specifically say, but just like a lot of like businesses that were trying to figure out any type of new approach to get something going and to not even progress with the times, because the times was like almost putting a weight on everybody, right? And it still could be. But definitely for studios, I almost looked at it as like my training business was wiped out. People slowly trickled back, but it was almost like the places that really wanted to be there and the trainers that really wanted to train and were practitioners, instead of just making a couple bucks, kind of, we're going to come out of it. And the gyms that had the smart built up approach or reserves or figuring out how they could stay alive were the ones that were going to succeed. We saw a lot of corporations go down that had to do with gyms like the New York Sports Club, right? Those are huge entities that were crushed, and little boutique studios are crushing it now, I think that was our vision too, because wellness is such a big current thing, and you've seen the whole evolution of that, but it's changed so much, but not even changed so much. It's just become so much more realized, and I'm sure you've gone through that. But like, what on the dietetics end, I wanted to ask, like, from your experience, what have you almost been through in that field? How has that field, I know you come from that medical designation registered dietitian, but there's so much BS out there, right? Obviously with the trends, with now social media, each influencer or person who has a following is pushing something different. And we've had conversations about that on other episodes. Where's the grounding for you? And like, how have you either changed your approach or been steadfast in your approach in the dietitian field based off of people coming up to you constantly?
Right. And
I'm going to try this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to try this. I'm going to do this. And you're like, no, right?
Right. There's definitely the spectrum right from kind of the Atkins diet now to keto.
Oh my gosh, and
where they're all kind of
and they just changed their name.
Exactly.
Because when I worked in the first hospital that I worked at, it was the water diet, and I mean they had, and everybody was on it, and I would be like trying to talk to the staff. These doctors and nurses were doing this, and then it was the medically supervised fast liquid diet, which, it kind of is like what's going on today, where they weren't eating, basically just drinking shakes.
It's just like a binge.
Yeah, it worked while they did it.
But, because it was just a calorie restriction.
Exactly, severe, 520 calories a day. And so I worked with people, teaching them how to get the food back to acclimate back to eating again.
Yeah.
And that was, not easy to do for these people, drinking like 5 shakes a day.
Yeah.
But you name it, I mean, every plan. But what really gets to me is that, we fought so hard to become registered and to be licensed in New York State, and it's still not really recognized. Like, anybody can hang up a shingle and call themselves a nutritionist, and they do.
Yeah.
And scope of practice. I mean, I heard a member that, retired from another health profession, telling somebody not to take a certain type of supplement. And there I was in the room, and I said, "Why are you telling her that? Like, her doctor advised her to this, and you're not the expert."
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
That is the scary thing in this social media era, that anyone can say, and it's simply can be easier to get some sort of nutrition designation and then just start telling people about food.
Yeah.
I feel like we've done a good job of like kind of always saying, hey, we're going to rely on our registered dietitians. That was one of the main things we want to do when we were
and
here.
I really admire that.
Yeah, is not be the people that were trying to make meal plans for people, because there's so many issues and there's so many sensitivities with people, and there's specific cases that you can't just go around making general food plans for people. You rely that to the people that have trained and are experts in that industry.
Yeah, it's also the approach too. You have such a fad-based culture, an immediate instant gratification-based culture, that like a doctor who might know what they're doing still follows something that's just a short-term thing, right? And it's like, well, why is that even a thing? You know, and I think we've done a good job before we even had, you know, certain roles in play in here, with just having constant conversations of just like,
and we've gone through the battles.
Look at everything. Look at everything. You want to drink, have a couple on the weekend, but know how to set it up. You want to eat the bread, but don't cut the carbs. Have the bread and enjoy it, but don't binge one way or the other. Don't do this, don't do that. Do it all together, slowly. Like you said, you're big in moderation. But the approach, the long-term approach, and sites are lacking for somebody.
And what I've told clients is that, you know, no food needs to be a forbidden food. If you want to work it into your plan, you certainly can. You know, and the hardest thing I find is for people to change like their like eating style. Like you may be a nighttime eater, you may be a snacker, and you've had that style all your life, and you may not be able to change that, but you can change what you eat. Late at night or while you're snacking, and that's where it boils down to what are the changes that you're making.
That's always like my biggest conversation with people that say, should I do intermittent fasting, right? Because that's going to help me lose weight. And it's like you said, you're a late night eater and you like to snack. How are you going to do intermittent fasting and think that you're going to succeed now? That's not your style of eating. You're going to hate this, and then you're just going to go back to whatever you're doing before.
Or you might be intermittent fasting in concept because you eat late.
You don't even know.
But it's all shit food anyway.
Exactly. It's like, so it doesn't even matter.
And the other one is, you know, the excuse like, you know, well, I eat when I'm sad or when I'm depressed, or you could eat when you're, you know, when you're happy too. And so these are all things that happen, you know, on a day-to-day basis. So you can still be successful, you know, even if you do eat when you're happy or sad. It's what you're eating.
It's interesting that even over the course of your career, that the conversation has always stayed the same.
Kind of.
It's everything from the outside, the noise has kind of sent a different message of what you should be eating, what you should avoid. Should I be high fat? Should I be low protein? Should I be high carb? But it's just, listen, there's a number you need to be at, and if you're around and you're in moderation, and or you can kind of have some control of the food that's going in, you'll be in a better place.
But for them to be successful, also, I think that the accountability factor is so key. And like food records, that's my go-to. You know, and when I look at someone's food record, it's not like good or bad. I'm not in that. I know food should be considered good or bad either. It's high calorie or high fat, low calorie, low fat, healthy, and when I'm looking at a food diary, there's no judgments. It's just about like, well, what is it that they're eating? You know, and you've got to be aware of it.
And it's nice that you touched on that there. If you can kind of go a little deeper on just what your approach to your clients is from a dietitian standpoint.
So when I meet with someone, the first thing I do is a whole dietary history of, you know, allergies, intolerances, medical history is a biggie. It's because a lot of the people that I see are referred by their physician by, you know, with insurance. So I see people with...
Which is the biggest definition out there. I know we've said it time and time again, and anyone that doesn't know it, an RD is a medical designation, right? And that's what she said before with the nutrition basis. So many people are getting a 6-week nutrition certification online to be able to put people's macros into play, but other than that, right, there's nothing else that bridges the gap there with a nutritionist and an RD, and RD is totally different.
Correct. Right.
So sorry, continue.
No, that's fine. So so I'll go over their history, lab work, you know, ask them to bring their lab work in and kind of review that, and then do a complete, you know, even, you know, what time do you get up in the morning? What's the first meal that you eat? And really get into snacking, whatever. And I'm writing it down, but making mental notes of what I would change and modify, etc. But it's about what their likes and dislikes also, and finding that. And then working at a meal plan for them that works for their lifestyle. And then, of course, I touch upon the exercise too, and that's ideal, working the two. But I will, you know, tell people that it's 80% diet, 20% exercise. You're not going to lose weight just if you can't, you know, you can't do it with diet, with exercise alone. lose the weight. You know, you can't train a bad diet.
Yeah, totally. And I love when that message comes from coaches, fitness coaches, right? Not from the nutrition side, because so much of what happens on the internet right now is telling people that follow this workout for 6 weeks, buy it, and then you're going to lose weight. And it's unfortunate that's not the case. And if it was that easy, everyone would be in shape, and you wouldn't need those people to sell a program, because you're only going to work out for 45 minutes, an hour a day. You cannot burn enough calories to outwork a diet. And as cliche as that statement it always is, right? That you can't outwork a bad diet, it is the truth. Right. You could not work out and have a good diet and find yourself in the shape that you want to be in. Maybe not with the muscle you want, but you definitely can lose the weight that you want. Right. Yeah. So yeah, I love that connection, kind of bringing that.
And also try to eat 3,500 calories, which is a pound, and now try to go on an assault bike and burn 3,500 calories. Right. You know, like your body obviously
you'll be there for a few days.
Yeah. It's much more enjoyable to eat the 3,500.
Yeah. You'll probably pass out before you get even close to that.
This podcast is sponsored by Memento Health. We got an awesome electrolyte supplement here that we just paired up with. We also are selling it within our studio and are affiliated with online. Incredible electrolyte is formulated with the best sourced sodium, potassium, magnesium, and amino acids to help absorb it, right? So it's got the correct ratio of sodium, potassium, and magnesium for optimal hydration. It also has great sourced amino acids from this Japanese company that does fermented amino acids instead of a typical chemical process. So check these guys out. We'll have the link below. Awesome, awesome partner.
Take us back. What is like upbringing young Cathy in a high school type setting look like, coming into college, getting into that kind of first mentality of like, okay, gym teacher consideration, but being told no, moving on to something else. Where does that come from? Where does the want of health and fitness come from, you think, within
that's an interesting question, because neither one of my parents came from that background. You know, being immigrants from France, my mother, you know, was a seamstress, but a very good seamstress.
I bet.
Yeah, made my wedding dress.
Wow.
And, you know, and she worked for Simplicity Patterns and did modeling and stuff. Yeah. My father was an entrepreneur. He had his own business in specialty advertising. So there was no background there. But, I mean, I played, you know, gym class in grammar school, high school, but then I did more than that. Got into gymnastics, tennis, track, things like that. And then in college, I started taking more exercise classes, you know, not like fitness programs, you know, just to get extra credits. But I found it always enjoyable and started running. So during my internship, I started running with the other interns and got into running. And so I always enjoyed the exercise. And so when I worked for that medical program, you know, the nurse that I worked with, you know, we'd go for walks every day and, you know, take 10 minutes to eat our lunch, but we walked every day. Yeah. And so we had to model for our patients, like anything we asked them to do, we had to do with this program that we did. We had to write down what we ate. We had to write down how many calories we burned from exercise. And we didn't have watches like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was like, you know, you burn 100 calories for a mile if you weigh 150 pounds. You know, you weigh more, you burn more, you weigh less, you know. And they had to track it, you know, and we did the same thing with them. And then I always enjoyed, and then when I first got married, you know, my husband used to play racquetball. So he'd be on the racquetball court for hours, like playing doubles, singles, whatever. So I would just take the aerobics classes and take 3 classes in a row, jumping around like a lunatic. Yeah, really. I loved it. I loved it. And then, you know, that's how I found this small gym in Greenlawn, and that's where I got started doing the aerobics, and that's where the passion started with that.
Start doing it, yeah.
But I found it was the perfect opportunity to get the nutrition in almost through the back door, because they weren't just coming in for nutrition.
Yeah.
You know,
Has almost everybody crossed over that you've worked with for the most part within some type of training, or vice versa?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I used to do a lot of programs, like we would have groups, you know, and meet and do like a Biggest Loser program, you know, for 8 weeks, that type of thing. 8-week weight loss program, get in shape for summer, that kind of stuff, you know, and you know, detox, you know, get the pounds off after the holidays, things like that.
Yeah, people love to not do the things during the year and then love for a little program to pop up, and that gives them, it's a time frame thing though too, right? It's like, hey, this is going to be a fun 8-week kind of program. If you're already in the gym, it kind of gives them something to a time frame to look at. It doesn't feel like it's a long outlook, right? They can kind of base it on 8 weeks, which is nice.
Yeah.
From some of these that you've done, right, and the clients that you've worked with, do you have a couple of favorite stories that you like of how you kind of changed someone's outlook on their wellness? Or because I know you've told us off camera of stories about some people that have had
as far as like
health changes.
With fitness, many have come to me and have said how I've changed their life, and how they never would have done this if it hadn't been for the gym. Because they felt like it was a non-intimidating atmosphere. I mean, even when I first opened the gym, when I would go to certifications at these huge, like a Gold's Gym, I would walk in and almost be like, feel uncomfortable. Like, I didn't know these machines. We didn't have machines like that when we first started out. It was the universal. Yeah. You had some free weights, and that's what we did in our classes. It was all free weights and bands. When I got started, I lost my train of thought now. I'm talking about, okay. No. So they would come in because it was non-intimidating. Yep. They did not feel comfortable going into the big box gyms. And so I was able to get more one-on-one attention, and give them the attention that required, and really push them and encourage them. And it was always first name basis, when we first started. And I still know everybody's name that walks into the gym, and so that's helpful. Yeah. And I can say, you really need to change up that workout a little bit, things, do you feel like it's getting a little stale, but I've had a lot of good success stories.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've witnessed you speaking with people that have been with you for 10, 15, 20 years. I know you had a woman that I think that she had a cancer diagnosis at some point, recovered. You trained her kind of through that entire process as well, which are kind of having those life moments.
It's a few of those people, yeah. And just people that were completely sedentary and never exercised before in their lives. Yeah. And this was the way they got started.
Yeah. What keeps you going? What
keeps
are you
me going?
I know you have the garden. I know you have, which is.
That's something to just kind of like.
It's an outlet.
That's part of my wellness.
Yes,
it's serene. It's quiet. I can just think or not think, and just kind of really. It's like they say with yoga, it's about just it's all from the inner. Just being there in the moment, and that's how I feel when I go to the garden. But I look forward to getting up in the morning and going to work, as opposed to somebody who's working a 9-to-5 job in an office, and they're jealous of what I do. Yeah. But they think I work out all day long.
Yeah.
That's
Which is not the case.
Which is not the case.
You're trying to find a workout if it can happen, right?
Exactly.
Well, that's what we tell people about,
like when I'm teaching a class, like that's my workout. But I want and need to do more, but it's fine. But I do look forward to it.
Cool. Do you have any over your whole career, the experience you've gotten out of anything, the gardening literally, do you have like a top 2 or 3 pieces of advice you'd give to someone that is either struggling or looking for more, or wants to either start a fitness journey or find something to do, like an outlet or something? Do you have anything for yourself that you hold close that you would tell people?
What I was told by people when I would consider doing like a marathon or something was to start out small. And this is what I tell people with nutrition and making changes. Start with the small changes first. Don't try to just say, okay, I'm going to follow this diet and be perfect, like the all or nothing. I used to be like that. I get away from that completely, and now don't beat yourself up if you don't succeed at first. And it goes with fitness too. You can't lift that weight. You just keep going at it until you can, and then you will, get stronger and be able to do more. And it's the same thing, with food. But I felt like I was told, like start with making, like sign up for like a 5K, then do like a half marathon, and then work it out that way. Join a club, so you'll have the support from the other runners, that type of thing. You know, I did all the cycling. I did it for a good cause. You know, I did it for the Leukemia Society. So I was raising money, and I thought of it as a way to help people. But then I enjoyed doing the ride as well, you know. But then after I had both my knees replaced, I said, I really shouldn't get on a bike now. You know, if I fall, that's not a good thing. You know, so, and just even that, you know, getting through having both my knees done, torn rotator cuff, getting back into fitness, you know, it was tough. And I could relate to, like, other people when they talk about it and how upset they were and like, I can't do this. And I was able to put myself in their shoes. And it was not an easy thing to do, you know, working through the pain. And, you know, the knees were far more painful, but I was able to jump back quicker because you had to move, whereas the shoulder, it's like you're not doing anything. And so that was rough.
Wow. What was like, what came back? I guess what was like the progress like with that, with your knees?
With the knees, I have to say the progress was like phenomenal.
Being like in fitness also your whole life.
So
because there's people that get knee replacements that have never moved, and now they have to start moving.
That's the interesting thing.
They have replacements.
Even where my orthopedist and the physical therapist there have spoken to me about possibly doing something in conjunction with them in terms of preparing people. And one of my clients, and you'll know because you had the conversation with her, said, you know, that's what you need to do. You need to help people and get them ready for their surgery, you know, food-wise, et cetera. But even when I did physical therapy in the hospital, you know, people would look at me and like, what are you doing here? Like, you're so young. Like, even the first time I went for a checkup and I was in the waiting room and everybody was either in a wheelchair or they were obese, and I'm like, do I belong here? Like, and just walking to the desk, I said, they're probably looking at me saying she can walk okay, you know? And I didn't schedule the surgery. I waited a whole year and was in such pain, but I just felt like I'm not ready for this. I can't, I can't do this. And then when I went back, you know, decided to do it. But in physical therapy, they're like, what are you, like a ballet dancer or something? Like the way you're doing, you know, and I watch people, you know, with the therapist there, not doing their squats right. And I'm like, you're not paying attention to them, you know? And it would really upset me.
But that's such a big part of injury prevention and injury recovery is that you had a strong body going into it. So that you were able to come back. And that's on both sides. So it's on the habit side where you weren't going to allow yourself to just be immobile after because you were a mobile person prior. And then your body was able to recover because you had that built up strength already.
I had people calling me up that like were like, you know, the husband of a member that hadn't been at the gym for 5 years. Can you tell me about your surgery and what it was like and what was your, you know, rehab like? People were coming in to talk to me and went to my doctor, you know, to have the operation and would come and show me what their scars looked like, you know. I mean, it was like, you know, it was, and
That's awesome.
No, they're big procedures and they can take you out, right? And it's just how, and now what's the outlook after that?
Right? I mean, I had
if you're out, then you're
I
not
had
moving
surgeries in December 6 years ago, and by March I was back to teaching, starting out with like a circuit kind of a workout where I walked around and told them what to do, battling ropes and stations, etc. And then I would jump in and do like the upper body, and then do a little bit more, and then do a little bit more, and then I found myself getting like really strong and feeling good and liking that kind of a workout. And
No, good.
So.
Awesome. Love it. We always end and like to cap it because it's a wellness-based company. We try to bring everything full circle. What does wellness mean to you, if you had to define it for yourself and in a general sense?
When I first think of the word, I automatically think of nutrition and fitness, but it goes so much more beyond that. It's about, you know, combining or integrating, you know, emotional aspects of your life, mental, spiritual, just like the workplace, and making it, going back to everything in moderation, you know, with that, but also finding things, you know, changing in your life to make you feel better as a person and feel successful, and have the outlets that you need, you know, and not get yourself down, but the small changes, you know, and kind of trying to make all of that work for you.
Yeah, not getting overwhelmed.
Exactly, yeah.
Cool.
And that's been, you know, that's been a journey for me in 33 years. You know, I was like so stressed out all the time and initially, and I found that over the years, things, you know, I let myself kind of like go with the flow.
Yeah.
You know, and even in my internship, that was always like, be a flexible person. Like, be able to change things on a dime. Like,
malleable.
even teaching a class or whatever, like, you know, working with someone nutrition, it's like, this person, we're not making the connection here. Let me change what I'm doing and change, you know, what I'm going to be talking about with this person because they're not getting it. So let's switch gears.
Yeah, being able to have that ability. That's it. I think that kind of ties into something that we talk about a lot, is that wellness is ever changing. It's not it's not a static state, right? It's ever changing in your life and in the life of everyone around you. Yeah. So you've got to be able to change it as you keep moving forward.
Right.
Yeah, and it's different for everyone you come across too. And I'm sure that's what's made you extremely extremely like consistent in the fitness and health and wellness industry, right? With your practice, with the people that you come across every day, how to reach each individual person and put them in a better position.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Just from them being in front of you.
I think so, and always making like transitions like smooth and kind of seamless instead of like, all right, from now on we're gonna, you know, never really had that approach.
Yeah.
Because people don't like change.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, change is good, and sometimes we need it.
Totally, 100%. Where can
I was gonna say,
go ahead.
No, but we were gonna say we typically ask where can people find you, but we're happy to say you can find Cathy at Forever Fit with us. And you can see the Forever Fit Gym Instagram handle to find you there. If there's anywhere else you'd like to direct people, please let them know.
Yeah.
Well,
any personal pages?
I have my own Instagram page, and it's kind of like a French thing. The name is.
But our second podcast with Cathy is just going to be in French.
No,
stay tuned.
Cathy _Cocotte. I forget if I have a number after it or not. But anyway, I could let you know.
We'll find it.
You'll find it. But
cool, awesome.
Cathy,
and then I have a Cathy Stratton RD.
Yeah.
I actually have 3 personal ones.
Wow. There we go.
Creations by Cathy for my knitting ability. I do
which
that
we
too.
need
That's
to
another,
showcase.
which another thing, another one of
I
my
didn't
hobbies.
Know that was one of your tools.
Yes, it is. But
you
right
use that
now,
during personal training
I can't
also,
do that.
And you can integrate that.
The only thing Cathy can't do right now is knit because of her thumb.
Yep.
Right.
So everything else she's great at. But we do expect some blankets now and some.
Oh
stuff
my
from the
gosh! Wait. Maybe a scarf, but no blankets right now.
If anyone wants
washcloths.
Also, if anyone wants tomatoes or some really nice zucchinis,
amazing!
Get in line, people. Get in line because there's people waiting.
Right.
Us.
You know, we've been grateful to get a bag, but but yeah.
Nice community garden, that I have.
Appreciate having you.
Thank you, Cathy. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for being a part of the team. We're excited about everything we're going to do moving forward from here.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Thank you, guys.